Imagine you are sitting in a wooden chair. The wood is old, scratched, and the room smells of bleach and something burnt. Your wrists are strapped down with thick leather belts. Your ankles too. A guard places a wet sponge on your shaved head and tightens a copper helmet over it. Another sponge goes between your left calf and a second electrode. The room in front of you has a glass window. Behind it stand 12 people watching in silence. A phone on the wall has not rung. The warden raises his hand. The electric chair was invented in 1881 by a dentist named Alfred Southwick. He watched a drunk man accidentally touch a live electrical terminal in Buffalo, New York. The man died fast, apparently without pain. Southwick thought, there has to be a cleaner way to execute people than hanging. He brought the idea to the New York State Legislature. By 1890, the chair was law. The first execution was William Kemmler, August 6, 1890. Witnesses said it was supposed to be progress. It was not. Here is what the chair actually does. A standard execution uses between 1,700 and 2,400 volts, delivered in 2 cycles. The first cycle runs for about 8 seconds. Then a pause. Then a second cycle for another 22 seconds. The current is alternating, the same type that comes out of your wall socket, just roughly 10 times stronger. Your household outlet runs at 120 volts. The chair runs at up to 2,400. That ratio matters. The moment the current enters your body, every voluntary muscle contracts simultaneously. Your fists clench, your back arches, your jaw locks. Not because you chose to do these things, because the electricity bypassed every signal from your brain and fired the muscles directly. Witnesses described the body straining against the leather straps so hard the straps cut into skin. Your heart goes into ventricular fibrillation in under a second. That means it stops pumping and starts quivering uselessly, like a bag of worms, which is the actual medical description. Blood stops moving. Your brain loses consciousness. The question is when. Officially, immediately. The current reaches the brain in milliseconds and disrupts all neural activity. The theory is that you feel nothing because there is no longer a you to feel it. Here is where it gets complicated. The first 500 milliseconds, half a second, before the current fully saturates the brain, there may be a window. Neurologists who have studied execution electrocutions argue about whether any sensation registers in that window. Some say no, the disruption is too fast. Some say the spike of electricity could trigger pain receptors before shutting them down. Nobody who has gone through it has come back to confirm either way. What witnesses confirm is everything outside the skull. The skin at the electrode sites burns. Not metaphorically, it chars. Third-degree burns, sometimes down to the bone, at the scalp and the calf where the copper contacts sit. The smell in the room is reported consistently across dozens of documented executions. Burnt hair, burnt skin, and something sweet that veteran corrections officers say never leaves your memory. Body temperature rises. During a standard execution, the internal body temperature can reach 60 degrees Celsius, 140 Fahrenheit. Proteins denature at that temperature. The same process that turns a raw egg white solid happens to tissue inside the body. Now go back to that first execution. William Kemmler, 1890. The first cycle ran for 17 seconds. Witnesses said he appeared dead. Then the current stopped and Kemmler started breathing again. The warden ordered a second, longer cycle, nearly 2 minutes. Witnesses reported blood vessels rupturing, smoke rising from his head, and the smell filling the room. A reporter from the New York Times wrote that the scene was far worse than hanging. The inventor of the chair, Alfred Southwick, stood in that room and watched. After that execution, Thomas Edison, who had spent years publicly opposing the chair but privately supplied the generator used to kill Kemmler, called the event a disgusting affair. He had previously suggested using the chair and calling electrocution being Westinghoused, after his rival George Westinghouse, whose AC current powered the device. Westinghouse responded by hiring a better lawyer to try to stop the Kemmler execution. The lawyer failed. So we have a dentist who invented it, an inventor who secretly helped build it while publicly opposing it, and a rival businessman whose technology powered it, all pointing fingers at each other while a man burned in a chair. Quick check, true or false, the electric chair is painless. Most people answer true. The official legal position in the United States is true. The scientific consensus is probably true, with a margin for doubt that nobody in the legal system wants to discuss publicly. Because if there is even a 1% chance the person in the chair is conscious for 2 seconds while their skin burns, that is a problem. A large problem. The kind of problem that 27 US states resolved by switching to lethal injection, which has its own catastrophic track record, but that is a different video. Between 1890 and 2024, the electric chair has been used in approximately 4,374 executions in the United States. Today, it remains a legal method in 8 states, though most use it only as a secondary option when lethal injection drugs are unavailable. In 2022, South Carolina executed Richard Moore by electrocution, the first such execution in the state since 2011. He chose the chair over the firing squad. He said he did not trust the new firing squad protocol to work correctly. Read that sentence again. A man chose to sit in a wooden chair with 2,000 volts run through his skull because he thought it was safer than the alternative. There are 38 documented cases of what witnesses and official reports describe as botched electrocutions, where the person required multiple cycles, showed visible distress, or the equipment malfunctioned. The most recent was in 1999. That number only counts the ones that were formally documented. The definition of botched is itself contested because the people deciding whether an execution went smoothly are the same people who carried it out. Back to you in that chair. The leather is cutting into your wrists. The helmet is cold. The sponge on your head is wet with saline. That is not for your comfort. It is to improve conductivity and reduce the chance of the current arcing and setting your hair on fire before it reaches your brain. That happened in earlier executions. They adjusted the protocol. The warden raises his hand. The executioner, in most states anonymous, in some states a volunteer, stands at a panel with a switch. The switch is designed so that no one person knows for certain whether they are the one who actually sent the current. There are multiple switches. Only one is live. The switch flips. Half a second, or nothing at all. Your muscles lock. Your heart stops. Your brain goes dark. The witnesses stand behind the glass and watch the strap strain. The smell reaches the ventilation. The doctor enters 2 minutes later with a stethoscope. The debate about what you felt in those first 500 milliseconds will continue in law journals and neuroscience papers for another decade, and no one will change their mind, and the chair will still be legal in 8 states, and the next person will still have to choose. The electric chair was sold as progress. It replaced hanging, which was slower and visibly brutal. Then, lethal injection replaced the chair for the same reason. Each generation finds a method that looks cleaner from the outside. What happens on the inside is always the same conversation. How much does it hurt? Does it hurt at all? And who decides the answer? If that question keeps you thinking, you are in the right place. Next time, we are going somewhere even colder. Subscribe so you do not miss it, because on this channel, the cause of death is always interesting, and the science is always specific, and the chair is never just a chair.